one other aspect about railroad museums and who could be a good railroader or what kind of physical traits is the ticket clerk. Nobody really thinks about that. They think everybody can do that because that's just simple. It's a cashier. You take money, you hand out tickets. Whoop-de-doo. Nothing special. Wrong. When it comes to money handling, when it comes to what tickets are sold, how many, where, to whom, things like that, a ticket clerk is a very responsible position. It's not just the cashier at, you know, Walmart or anything like that. It's not scanning stuff across, sliding stuff across a scanner. It is old style, diligent paperwork. And there somebody has to be diligent. They have to count out change correctly. They have to mark down the ticket, starting and ending ticket numbers. They have to count how many is sold. And everything has to balance. Or else somebody screwed up somewhere or they're filching money. That's not a very good thing. So yeah, it takes a degree of diligence, especially on paperwork. It takes a people person because the customers are going to ask 300 questions, just the same as to the conductor, about when's the next train, what the train is like, what kind of seating should they expect, can they take this or that on board? Depends on the railroad museum. Um, how long the trip is as far as miles, how long it takes in time. Is it bumpy? Is it smooth? Is it this? Is it that? Are the coaches hot or are they air conditioned? Things like this. Whole bunch of questions all the time. Not quite as many as you get to the conductor, but there's still a whole lot of questions. And that's just direct facing questions from the customer standing at the ticket window. That's not phone calls or anything else that they may or may not have to take. So it requires somebody that has ready answers, believable answers, has a clear voice, and pretty much a well-centered personality because you have to. You're the public-facing image of that museum, just like the conductor is. Not so much for the engineer and fireman, but they'll be asked questions anyway, so they can't be too surly about things. But they can just say that they're busy with work and can't really be disturbed. There's ways out of that if you need it. It's not advised because the more the public interacts with the crew and with any employee, the better off they'll see as the railroad museum, the more likely they're to come back. So the more revenue that the museum can garner. So there's that aspect. A lot of museums require the ticket clerk to also answer telephone inquiries. Some don't because they actually have an office and office staff that's usually paid staff to answer telephone questions, things like that. In case the question is for like the GM or it's important railroad business rather than just simply a question from the general public, which is important too, but it's a different context. So ticket clerk is an important one. A lot of places have a gift shop. A gift shop clerk, that's a little easier because most of the inquiries are about the merchandise on the shelf. So it's important they familiarize themselves with what's there, what's available in the stockroom, and to be able to deal with the people that just want to whine and complain that, oh my God, the prices are so high, or why can't you get this in small? Even though, welcome to reality, not every museum has everything in stock. Actually, very few of them do. If they're lucky enough to have a stock room or spare supply of almost anything, it's usually in very limited supply no matter what, or excessive supply of something that it doesn't sell. So, welcome to the realities of retail work. But a retail worker, again, this isn't just putting stuff over a scanner at Walmart. You have to actually interact with the public, count the change correctly, work the cash register or whatever dispensing device there is, deal with how the credit card machine does or doesn't work, things like that. And you're usually the only employee there. In the gift shop, that is, not just on the property, but yeah, it's you. You are it. You are the manager. You are the stock boy. You are the cashier. You're it. And that's a hell of a lot of responsibility. You can't have somebody that wants to fire off and cuss out a customer. That doesn't work very well. Well, some customers you really do want to cuss out, but that's another matter. And so that's one other aspect of railroading that is front facing, is facing the general public. And then you have what I'll term as museum docents. They're the people that do the guided tours. They're the people that explain things. This takes, again, an outgoing personality, just like a conductor. You can sometimes swap out those people in different jobs. But it takes a more categoric knowledge of this piece of equipment, that piece of equipment, history, dates, differences in style, to be able to point things out, not so much as answer questions, questions will be present, but to put on a performance so that the people can see, learn, and hear about things that they probably never considered because not everybody deals with steam railroads. Actually, very few people do. So it's important to have an outgoing individual or at least a well-centered individual in that position as well. Now, mind you, so far I've been going through the outgoing personality types and the positions they can be in. There are positions for the more introspective, more checklist style, more things like that. I'll get to those shortly. But there's one other outward facing person that has a lot on his shoulders. And that's either the president of the organization, general manager. It's the leader that's in responsibility for the whole damn show. And this person, no matter what their skills, they have to interact with the public. It is unavoidable. If you have a person that's disgruntled, that dislikes humanity in general, that's not exactly the person you want to have in the front-facing position. If that's going to be the president of the organization, hire a general manager. Do it. It works better, just for everybody. Yes, it costs money, but guess what? It's less headache, fewer complaints, and more income because you're not going to be pissing off people. I say this vehemently because I've dealt with a couple of these types throughout the years that they're just leave me alone, let me do my work, and the problem is that interacting with the public is part of that work. So I understand for those individuals, yeah, that's their mindset, but as an outward facing concept, that does not fly. So if you're anything that doesn't like talking with the general public, cannot stand criticism, uh, uh, are argumentative to a fault, things like that, do not try to be a general manager or president of an organization like this. It just does not work. It's headache for you. It's disruptive to the operations. It is something seen as a black mark for the public if they have to interact with you. It's just not a good idea. Yeah, it's power, but yeah, don't flush everything else down the toilet. And I'm going to stop this here and then continue on with the other side of railroading that most people don't really think about.